Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. Always a pleasure when this man's in town, Mr. Mike Leanardi. First things first, how are you, sir?
Great, brother. How are you?
Good, I'm good. Always lovely to see you. First things first, we're here for the Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz presser. It's wrapped up now. Your thoughts on it all? Jake, I've done an interview with him. He said that it seemed that Nate was a little bit out of it. Do you reiterate those comments?
Yeah, it's a little bit, there's a couple of odd comments in that thrown in there, but, I thought it went off without a hitch. Yo!
That was Jake just there. Look, let's talk. Do you need to go or are you good? No. Let's talk about the fight itself. Nate's fighting at 185. He said that he wanted the fight to be at 180, but beggars can't be choosers. Do you feel that, what do you think Nate can offer that I suppose Tommy Fury or someone else couldn't offer?
In terms of what does he bring to the table? I mean, Nate brings a ton of credibility, obviously. He brings a ton of experience. He's very crafty, tricky. He's been boxing a long time, which I think people forget or don't realize. So it's going to be interesting. He brings a lot of, veteran tactics and ability. He knows how to get up for a big event, which I think a lot of people outside the sport don't take into consideration.
Mike, out of curiosity, there's a rumour circulating that the Tommy Fury fight has been provisionally agreed for December in Saudi Arabia. Are you in any position to comment on those matters?
No, that'd be news to me.
Okay. All right. Look, for this event, obviously Amanda Serrano is the co-main event against Heather Hardy. Just your reasoning being, obviously we know that they had made the rematch, Taylor Serrano 2, wasn't able to happen. Obviously Taylor fights next weekend in Dublin against Chantel Cameron. But I believe you guys, the team, you do still want to make the rematch at some point?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, I hope she wins, Obviously that helps the case. But, it's just a matter of, they didn't want to wait for Amanda. And, we didn't want to wait for Katie to hold up Amanda. So, hopefully we can make it happen down the line.
When could we sort of potentially be looking at that? Obviously now Serrano fights in August and then there's going to be a little bit of a pushback. I know that there was always talk of doing it at a stadium. It wasn't actually, it was going to be at the arena. I suppose you can go to an arena any time of year. Do you maybe look at that at the end of 2023, start of 2024?
I mean, both women have difficult fights ahead of them. So it's really too soon to say. We've got to see how their fights go and how they come out of their fights.
Let's talk a little bit about the Prospect series, something that...
Yeah, Mike!
Jake, how important is this
prospects,
man?
MVP prospects! How
important has this man been to MVP Prospect? Well, that was what I was on about. MVP Prospects indeed. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. MVP Prospects, or Most Valuable Prospects, kicks off May 26th on DAZN. Stream globally. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida. Looking to put on, a couple of the fights have been announced already, looking to put on undefeated fighters, top prospects with good amateur backgrounds, fighting their most difficult fights as far as professionals. I'm ecstatic, man. This is, the kind of stuff I love. Obviously, everyone loves the big events, but, these kind of events, boxing needs more of them, needs to give young fighters a platform, and, I'm thrilled about it. I'm looking forward to it.
I was going to say, I've known you for some time now. You've always been involved in and around fighters. I know how much it means to you, the development. Obviously, Jake's got his huge platform. That combined with DAZN, do you feel like this really is the turning point into turning these guys into stars?
I do. I mean, you've seen what Jake's been able to do when he pushes somebody. Look at Amanda. I've told this story numerous times this year, but I've worked with Badou Jack. Badou, fought James DeGale at a Barclays Center. I want to say it was January 2017. Amanda was an off-TV fight. Fast forward a few years, she's headlining, selling out Madison Square Garden. That's Jake getting behind her and pushing her. She was already a world champion. She was already an established fighter. So just, his ability to shine a spotlight on talented people has already been shown. So I think this platform is going to be great for young fighters. Ashton Sills headlining the first event. We announced a great heavyweight fight, 2 undefeated heavyweights. It's exciting, man. It's exciting. I think it's great for the sport.
You talk about Badou Jack, that's interesting. He's just signed a promotional deal with Skill Challenge Entertainment, I believe, becoming the second ever boxer to do so after Zizo Al Mayouf. We know that big events are going to Saudi, but in the occasion that, I imagine he'll want to be active as the champion, mandatories, etc. What is the situation? Will he only be fighting in Saudi Arabia, elsewhere, etc.?
The plan is for the next fight, to be over there. Obviously, Badou is living full-time in Dubai now, in the UAE. He's a Muslim world champion once again. He's a 3-weight world champion, which, as you know, is extremely rare in boxing. He has a great profile in the Middle East. I think it just makes a lot of sense for him to continue fighting in the Mideast.
Any sort of opponents talked about? I know that there was fucking years ago now, Canelo, there were talks of him going up well, actually not too long ago, about him going up to Cruiserweight. I suppose that was before the Bivol defeat. People have denied about Canelo against Badou Jack. Obviously, Badou Jack was once Canelo's weight. Realistic, I imagine there are talks about Canelo one day fighting in the Middle East. That would be a big money fight, right?
Oh, that'd be huge. I mean, look, Badou's 39. I think it's safe to say that he, wants the biggest fight available to him. Obviously, Canelo would be the biggest. If that's not, a possibility, then kind of whoever's next in line. Just, like I said, the biggest events.
A lot of the belts are in the UK. Obviously, Lawrence Okoli has the WBO. He's fighting against Chris Billam-Smith. Richard Riakporhe, we're expecting an announcement to fight Arsene Goulamarin, whether that be in France, etc. But if those two belts do end up being in the UK, would Badou be willing to go over to the UK to fight these guys, or is his sort of impression now with Saudi Arabia, with the money behind it, that he's sort of the A-side and maybe they could come to him for some huge event?
Yeah, I think it's more that he'd want to fight in the Middle East, especially becoming a champion once again, especially being signed to Skill Challenge. I mean, obviously I can't speak for Skill Challenge and Amr, but I think that, they want fights there. That's, obviously, and there's been some massive fights to go to Saudi in the last couple of years. I don't see that changing, and I think they're honestly just going to be doing more events than they were before.
All right, Mike. Well, always a pleasure. Lovely to see you again. Just a final message from you, Paul Diaz. We can see it on DAZN pay-per-view in August, I believe. Final. I'll pass the mic to you to sell the fight.
Yeah, August 5th, DAZN pay-per-view. Jake Paul, Nate Diaz. I mean, the names speak for themselves, right? You know the fight's going to be entertaining. It's a difficult fight for Jake. But Jake's going to rise to the occasion. He's making a lot of great moves behind the scenes to make sure he's well prepared. Man, it's going to be a fun one. You don't want to miss it.